for today's online class with Holiness Chandramauli Maharaj. Very warm welcome to you all. Thank you all for joining. My humble obeisances to you all. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna Maharaj, my humble obeisances to you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So Maharaj, we shall be continuing with 2936. And this is the third session. I've marked where we need to start from, Maharaj.
Yeah. On each session, we do the verse.
Okay, Maharaj, yes.
And then we go to where you were. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Ekavam eva jigyasyam tadva jigyasunatmanaham avayam vyati yat shyat sarvada. Okay, turn to where you are. Okay. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that one can serve the Lord by offering the result of one's own work. So it doesn't matter what one does. Generally, men may say that whatever they do is inspired by God, but that is not all. One should actually work on behalf of God as the servant of God. There's a theory out there that work is worship, that as long as you're doing your work, that is also worship. But actually, you may do your work according to your own desires and keep the results of your activities. There's no question of worship. That's a nice excuse people give so they don't have to adopt any kind of order of religious practice. They can say, well, I worship God by doing my occupation. But one can do anything they want and call it service to God. The service to God is directed under the guidance of the Lord through your devotee. And therefore, even though one may say that they are working on behalf of God, it is simply just words. So here, and Prabhupada said, but one should actually work on behalf of God. Yata karosi yaranasi, yat jahosi dadasi yat, yat tapasyasi kontaya, yat tad kurushim manatmima.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, sorry to interject. My apologies. Maharaj, your voice is coming a little bit muffled. If there's anything.
Okay, let me readjust my microphone here. Is that any better?
That's much better, Maharaj.
Okay. Do whatever you like, or whatever may be easier for you to do. Eat whatever you may eat. Sacrifice whatever you can sacrifice. Give whatever you can give in charity. And do whatever you may undertake in penance. But everything must be done for him only. So Krishna gives you a wide range of activities, but offer the results to him. Because ultimately he is the proprietor of everything. And everything ultimately is meant for his pleasure or his service. If you do business or if you accept some employment, do so on behalf of the Lord. So here he's giving a wide range of activities that one may engage in, but the goal has to be for the pleasure of the Lord. Whatever you may eat, you may offer the same to the Lord and be assured that he will return the food after eating it himself. That is called prasadam. He is the complete whole, and therefore whatever he may eat as offered by the devotee is accepted because of the devotee's love. But again, it is returned as prasad for the devotee so that he can be happy by eating. So this is one of the main activities we perform in devotional service. is to cook for Krishna and then to offer it to Krishna as a sacrifice in devotion. And that way we become free from the sinful activity of accepting foodstuffs without understanding the purpose of these foodstuffs. In other words, God has provided everything, so at least we could offer it back to Him in a form of worship. And when that food becomes offered to Him, it is transformed. It is no longer ordinary food. It is spiritualized, and therefore it's returned to the devotee in the form of prasad, which means the mercy of the Lord. And therefore one can, as Prabhupada says, enjoy eating in the real sense of the word. People like to eat, but a lot of times they don't enjoy eating because, as it says in the Bhagavad Gita, they eat only sin. There's one verse in the second chapter, no, actually the third chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Yagyasya shanto bunchite sarva kilbisha bunchite te agam papam yepa chatman karanat. That verse says that those who prepare food from their own sense enjoyment verily eat only sin. So people don't even understand that they're getting a reaction, a negative reaction, just by the process of eating, because they're not acknowledging where the food is coming from and how that food is actually a gift from the Lord through the earth. And therefore, it should be understood as that, yes, we can eat, and we can eat varieties of different foodstuffs, but at least acknowledge the source and offer it to Him in a form of worship. And that worship purifies the worshiper and purifies the food itself, and the food is no longer material, it is spiritual. And therefore, when one eats it, one not only gets the happiness of enjoying the food, but they also get what we call spiritual nourishment. In other words, as Prabhupada continues the explanation, be a servant of God and live peacefully in that consciousness, ultimately returning home back to Godhead. So he, every once in a while, he interjects the whole purport in a few lines. Here, just be a servant of God. That's all. It is said in the Skanda Puranam, Yasya Smriti Cham Namuktya Tapo Yagya Kriyadishu Nunam Sampurnata Natam Eti Sadyo Vande Tam Achyutam. I offer my obeisances unto Him, the infallible, because simply by either remembering Him or by vibrating His holy name, one can attain the perfection of all penances, sacrifices, or fruitive activities, and this process can be universally followed. So it's a very powerful verse, and Prabhupada will enunciate the point. But here it is mentioned that people perform all kinds of sacrifices, undergo all kinds of austerities, and perform all kinds of activities to get some kind of what we say acceptable or positive and enjoyable result. But here it says it's simply by remembering Krishna and chanting His holy name, all these other activities and the benefits that they come with these activities are automatically gained and simply by remembering Krishna. That's all. Kamo, sarvakamo va, moksha karma, udaradi, tivrena, bhakti yogena, yajeta purusham param. Though a person may be full of desires, one, have no desires, two, may follow the infallible path of bhakti yoga for complete perfection, three. So three types of people are mentioned: those who looking for material results, those who are self-satisfied, and those who are engaged in devotional service. And then it says here, one need not be anxious to propitiate each and every demigod and goddess, because the root of all of them is the personality of Godhead. So simply by worshiping the Lord, chanting the holy names of the Lord, all of these different types of personalities will become satisfied. And here, this is the reason, as pouring the water on the root of the tree serves and enlivens all the branches and leaves, so by rendering service unto the Supreme Lord, one automatically serves every god and goddess without extraneous effort. So, because Krishna is called Mula, or the root, therefore, if you water the root of the tree, everything connected with the tree will automatically benefit from the watering process. Similarly, when we serve the Lord, everything is taken care of. There's no more need to serve any other aspect of existence. Simply, if we serve the Lord, everything is automatically taken care of. There's a nice verse. It's not mentioned here, but it's mentioned in the 11th canto in the Srimad Bhagavatam. I think it's second chapter, verse number, or no, actually it's 11th canto, 5th chapter, verse number, I can't remember, but it says, Devasya putatpan nirnam pratrignam na kinkanaraya nanitra jaja sarvatpayam sharanam bhavanyam tamo mukundan grina sevayaivat. So it's nice to explore that verse. I'm surprised it's not mentioned here because it's so fundamental to this point. So I'll go to that verse. I think it's 11, 5, 22, is it? I might be wrong. I could be, let's see, 11, 5. No, this is not the verse. Let's see. It's mentioned also in the Bhagavad Gita, and we can go to the Bhagavad Gita reference. And we go to Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse number 39, I believe it is. It's mentioned in the purport. No, not 39. Verse number, 239. Yeah, okay. Go down the page and let's see. It should be here. Keep going down. Just go down. Can you keep going? I think you come to the verse eventually. Let's see. No, it's not mentioned here. Try verse 38. That might be it. Yeah, Devasi Bhutatmandirnam Pratingnam Nakinkanonayan Ranichurajam. Okay, go to the actual verse, 11:541. There you go. And then it says here, Sarvatmayam Sharanam Sharanyam Gato Mukundan Matpati Rityakartum. This is very fundamental. Devotees should learn this. Read the verse.
Yes, Maharaj. O king, one who has given up all material duties and has taken shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, who offers shelter to all, is not indebted to the demigods, great sages, ordinary living beings, relatives, friends, mankind, or even one's forefathers who have passed away. Since all such classes of living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, one who has surrendered to the Lord's service has no need to serve such persons separately.
Yeah. So one who surrenders to the Lord in devotion has no more duties to all these other classes of living entities. And it says the contrary, that when you come into the world, you're already a debtor. You're a debtor to the demigods for providing you what you need in terms of the material necessities, such as rain, sunshine, and various, what we say, natural things that are necessary for the living entities. Great sages who give us the knowledge coming from Shastra. Ordinary living beings in different categories, relatives, friends, anyone, all living entities in all different categories. No one has any more debts if they serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just like sometimes devotees say, well, I have so many debts to take care of. When I take care of my debts, then I will come and join Krishna consciousness. We say, just join Krishna conscious, and Krishna will wrap up your debts automatically. You don't have to worry about it. People can't see the logic in it, and therefore most of the time they become a little confused or don't accept it. But those who do accept it find it is actually a reality. So yeah, one who serves the Lord in devotion has no more responsibilities to any living entities on any level. And that might be a somewhat of a controversial statement. So let's see how it plays itself out. We'll talk about that later, but we can go back to the section on, and here a verse is given, Archite Deva Devasya Sanka Chakra Gadadare Archita Sarva Deva Shur Yata Sarvagato Harihi. When the Supreme Lord, personality of Godhead, who carries in his hand a conch shell, wheel, club, and lotus flower, is worshipped, certainly all other demigods are worshipped automatically because Hari, the personality of Godhead, is all pervading. Now, here, this may be a little confusing. Therefore, in all cases, namely nominative, objective, causative, dative, ablative, possessive, and supportive, everyone is benefited by such transcendental loving service to the Lord. The man who worships, that means all ways by which one connects with the material energy in different ways, all of that is automatically becomes benefited by loving service to the Lord. So the person who worships the Lord himself, who is worshipped, the cause for which the Lord is worshipped, the source of supply, the ingredients, the place where such worship is done, everything is benefited by the service of the Lord, provided one follows the principles of executing devotional service. One cannot do it what one wants and call it devotional service. One has to work according to the principles of following the instructions of the Lord through the process of accepting that guidance from the bona fide spiritual teachers. Even during the annihilation, here we go, of the material world, the process of bhakti can be applied. Kalena nasta pralaya vaniyam. The Lord is worshipped in devastation because he protects the Vedas from being annihilated. So even during that time, devotional service may still continue, even during the devastation. He is worshipped in every millennium or yuga, as it says in the Bhagavatam, Triteya Dayato Vishnu, Tretayam Yajito Makai, Dwarpare Paricharyayam, Kalotadar Kirtanat. And then to enhance that, that means that in different ages, there is a means for self-realization accordingly. And then, as this, there's no translation given to that, but ultimately that verse refers to different ages and how one should worship the Lord according to the Yuga Dharma, or the age, or the designated form of worship as given by the Shastras for worship in that age. And the last one is Kalodar Tadari Kirtanat, that in the age of Kali, it's Kirtan. Okay, and then here's a very, very, what we say, what's the word? Sweeping verse. It just clears up everything in one shot. This is, you might say, it's kind of like a Maha verse. This is from Vishnu Puran. Sahanastad mataj chidram samoham sa chavi brahmaha yadmuhurtim shanadvapi vasudevam nachintayet. Even for a moment, remembrance of Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is missed, that is the greatest loss, that is the greatest illusion, that is the greatest anomaly. So to forget the Lord even for a moment is considered to be the worst possible thing that could happen to you. Think about that one. The Lord can be worshipped in all stages of life. For instance, even in the wombs of their mother, Maharaj Prahlad and Maharaj Parikshit worshipped the Lord. Even in his very childhood, at the age of only 5 years, Dhruva Maharaj worshipped the Lord, even in full youth. Maharaj Ambrish worshipped the Lord, and even at the last stage of his frustration in old age, Maharaj Dhritarashtra worshipped the Lord. The Jamil worshipped the Lord even at the point of death, and Trikshikeshu worshipped the Lord even in heaven and in hell. So here, there's no restrictions. One can worship the Lord anywhere and everywhere. In the Narasringa Purana, it is said that as the hellish inhabitants began to chant the holy name of the Lord, they began to be elevated from hell towards heaven. Durvasa Muni has also supported this view. Mujyeta yad namami udite nagarako pi. Simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord, the inhabitants of hell became released from their hellish persecution. So if we chant the holy names of the Lord, if we're in any situation that's difficult, all of a sudden the situation changes and becomes acceptable. So the conclusion of Srimad Bhagavatam is given by Sukadeva Goswami to Maharaj Parikshit is, and this is a very powerful verse, Etam niyavananam mitchatam agudbayam yoginam nirpanirnitam harir namanukirtanam. So this is Maharaj Parikshit Sukadeva Goswami speaking. O king, it is finally decided that everyone, namely those in the renounced order of life, the mystics, the enjoyers of futile work, should chant the holy name of the Lord fearlessly to achieve the desired success in their pursuits. That means everyone, no matter what category of life you are placed in, no matter what identity you have in terms of your occupation, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, one should worship the Lord. So you can see what is the pattern that's being explained here. That devotional service ultimately is the only goal of life, and one who takes it up becomes glorious and fulfills all their desires perfectly and completely. All other activities that one may perform is meant to support the ultimate goal, which is to develop one's loving relationship with the Supreme Lord through devotional service. Here, this is indicated in various places of revealed scriptures. So now, Prabhupada will mention 6 points, which will be mentioned as how one can worship the Lord in any situation. Even though one is well versed in all the Vedas and scriptures, if one is not a devotee of the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, he is considered to be the lowest of mankind. So that sounds a little bit harsh, that everybody who's not worshiping the Lord, he's considered to be the lowest of mankind. What does that mean? That the purpose of mankind or human culture is to worship the Lord. Therefore, one is not following the design purpose given by the Lord, given by the scriptures, given by the great teachers, and therefore one is acting independently and whimsically, trying to live in this world to be happy and satisfied without acknowledging or even considering their relationship with the Supreme Lord, which is eternal. Therefore, the designation they are given is they are Naradama, or the lowest of mankind. In the Garuda Purana, Brihad Naradiya Purana, and Padma Purana, the same is repeated. What is the use of Vedic knowledge and penances for one who is devoid of devotional service to the Lord? So, again, it comes back to the same point that even if you are, astute in all Vedic knowledge and you're expert at performing penances and austerities, there's no devotion to the Lord. All your activities are shrama evali kevalam, which means simply a useless waste of time, has no value. Number 3, what is the comparison of thousands of Prajapatis to one devotee of the Lord? This is very important to understand. Devotee of the Lord is not a small thing. To become a devotee of the Lord is not simply to have a label and be called a devotee. The devotee of the Lord is one who is devoted to the Lord in service to the Lord. One time someone said to Srila Prabhupada, "Oh, Prabhupada, you are the best of all devotees." Prabhupada said, "Oh, devotee, that is very high." So we use the word quite loosely. We label anyone who comes near Krishna consciousness as being a devotee. But actually, the meaning of the word in the real sense is those who are actually fully devoted to the service of the Lord. That is a devotee. And that one person is greater than thousands of those persons who, on behalf of the Lord, propagate the living entities by expanding into the different bodies. So you see, just one devotee of the Lord is greater than so many other living entities who do valuable service. Sukadev Goswami said that neither the ascetic, nor one who's greatly munificent, nor one who is famous, nor the great philosopher, nor the great occultist, nor anyone else can achieve the desired results without being engaged in the service of the Lord. So in other words, whatever their occupation, it has no real value and will never achieve perfection in the occupation or the satisfaction in that occupation unless they connect it to the service of the Lord. Number 5, even if a place is more glorious than heaven, if there's no glorification of the Lord of Vaikuntha or his pure devotees, it should be at once quitted or abandoned. That's self-explanatory. Don't live anywhere where there's no devotion to Krishna. The pure devotee refuses to accept all 5 different types of liberation in order to be engaged in devotional service. And so Krishna may reward the devotee with some type of liberation, but still the devotee would rather be engaged in devotional service than to accept any forms of liberation. And here, everything will be summed up in these last 2 chapters. The final conclusion, therefore, is that the glories of the Lord must be always and everywhere proclaimed. One should hear about the glories. One should chant his glories. One should always remember his glories, because that is the highest perfectional stage of life. We hear this over and over. So always remember Krishna and the things that are related to Krishna, his qualities, his activities, his pure devotees. These are all in relationship to Krishna. So one who chants about all of these aspects that are related to Krishna, that is considered the highest perfectional stage of life. Or simply if they hear about it. As far as fruit of work is concerned, it is limited to an enjoyable body. In other words, in order to enjoy fruit of work, your body has to be in good shape. As far as yoga is concerned, it is limited to the acquirement of mystic power. As far as empiric philosophy is concerned, it is limited to the attainment of transcendental knowledge. And as far as transcendental knowledge is concerned, it is limited to the attainment of salvation. So none of these things can actually reach the real goal of life. Even if they are adopted, there is every chance of discrepancies in discharging the particular types of functions. Yeah, so in other words, yoga, jnana yoga, karma yoga, anga yoga, any of these yogas has to be performed expertly in order to get the results. And if there's a slight discretion in the activity, the whole activity is null and void. But here, then Prabhupada goes on to say, but the adoption of transcendental devotional service of the Lord has no limit, nor is there fear of falling down. The process automatically reaches the final goal by the grace of the Lord. As long as one stays in devotional service and perseveres, one will eventually reach perfection. One should never consider, well, it's difficult, I should give up, or things have happened to divert my attention away. No, one should think, in any case, in any situation, let me continue in devotional service. Whether it's everything around me is pleasing or unpleasing is not a consideration. And in the preliminary stage of devotional service, there's an apparent requisite for knowledge, but in the higher stage, there's no necessity of such knowledge. So, in order to get a foothold or to get started in devotional service, one should cultivate transcendental knowledge. But once situated in devotional service, then that knowledge works automatically as a concomitant factor. It's automatically included, and therefore one doesn't have to cultivate knowledge separately. The best and guaranteed path of progress is therefore engagement in bhakti yoga, pure devotional service. Again, Prabhupada is making this point over and over. The cream of Srimad Bhagavatam and the foregoing four slokas is sometimes squeezed out. This is what we're talking about here, these chatur slokis, squeezed out by the impersonalists for different interpretations in their favor. In other words, there are many classes of so-called spiritualists who read these verses and have their own understanding of what it means, and they always use it for to fortify their own misconceptions. But it should be carefully noted that the four slokas were first described by the personality of Godhead himself. So this wasn't spoken by anyone else but Krishna. And thus, the impersonalists have no scope to enter into them because they have no conception of the personality of Godhead. They don't acknowledge nor serve the personality of Godhead, and therefore they want to interpret his words according to their own, what we say, desired result. Therefore, the impersonalists may squeeze out any interpretation from them, but such interpretations will never be accepted by those who are taught in the disciplic succession from Brahma, as well as being cleared up by the following verses. Besides that, the Shrutis confirm that the Supreme Absolute Truth, Godhead, never reveals himself to anyone who is falsely proud of academic knowledge. And then this verse from the Kati Upanishads is very powerful, and this sums up the whole chapter. Nayam Atman Pravachanena Lobhyo Namedayan Nabuhudaya Srutenam Yam Evaisya Shrinuti Tena Labhyas Tasyaiva Atma Vidvanuti Tanushvam. That means you can study so many Vedas, you can have so much intelligence, you can be expert at so many things. But if the Lord doesn't allow it, you can't understand anything. So here it says the whole matter is explained by the Lord himself, and one who has no approach to the Lord in this personal feature can rarely understand the purport of Srimad Bhagavatam without being taught by the Bhagavatams in disciplic succession. So if you can find this verse, Nayam Atman Pravachanena Labhyo, somewhere with the exact translation, because it's quite interesting. It's mentioned in different places throughout Scripture, if you can find it.
Yes, Maharaj, I'll find out. I'll just stop sharing and I'll find and I'll start sharing again.
It's quite revolutionary, that verse. How we doing?
Ah, it is the full translation. There is the mentions of different places, but not the full translation. It is in the Katha Upanishad.
Hmm.
And Prabhupada, just a second, Maharaj. Yeah. Uh, Dear devotees, if you can also find, then ping me the link. Um,
I might be able to give you a reference. You give me a minute.
yes, Maharaj. I have I have located it, Maharaj, on one
Good.
place. I will try to
Okay.
share.
Yeah,
One
go
sec.
ahead. It's worth reading. It's interesting. Go to the translation. The Supreme Lord is not attained by expert explanations, by vast intelligence, nor even by much hearing. He is attained only by one who he himself chooses. To such a person, he manifests his own form. So, in other words, if you get the favor of the Lord, then everything becomes perfect or successful. And we try to get the favor of the Lord by following the instructions given by the Lord through the representative of the Lord. Okay?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yeah. So if people are expert, have great intelligence, like to hear a lot, it doesn't mean you shouldn't do these things or cultivate these things, but these things will not necessarily be give you the result of connecting you with Krishna devotion. It may or may not, but ultimately he is attained only by one who himself chooses. Krishna is the final say in all activities. Okay, go to the gallery. Okay, we can try to. So, this last part of this fourth verse of the Chatur Shloki, which is the final verse, sums up everything that everything, all success only comes by devotional service, no other way.
Thank you, Maharaj. So, dear devotees, we'll open up for question and answers. It's a very Siddhantic explanation and understanding. I'm sure you have questions. So, yes, we've got a few raised hands, but just an announcement, if you're not able to turn on your cameras or speak, you can actually put your question in the chat window and I will relay that on your behalf. Thank you very much. So we'll go in the order. Rishabh Prabhu, please go ahead and ask your questions. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, dear Guru Maharaj and dear Vaishnavas. Do you hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Maharaj, I was happy to hear the statement of Prabhupada in the part of the last parts of the purports, because it was confusing me for a long time. It is mentioned that, as I also understood the philosophy, in the beginning we have to cultivate some knowledge and some renunciation from sense gratification, so that by engaging in activities of devotion instead of enjoying our senses, we are actually become liberated. And then from liberation from the modes, we actually start to devotionally serve the Lord. And from that point on, our bhakti or our devotional service brings renunciation and knowledge automatically. Did I understood it correctly?
Yeah, but you have to understand what is that preliminary knowledge to accept things favorable and to reject things unfavorable, to both in the form of knowledge and in the form of renunciation also. So, yeah, in other words, you need a little preliminary knowledge to get involved in bhakti. That knowledge which connects you to the process of bhakti. But once you're connected to the process of bhakti, knowledge becomes a concomitant factor. It automatically manifests through the activities of devotional service. So that's
So
mentioned.
that is
Yeah, Rupa Goswami explains that nectar devotion. It's like we follow
so that's why.
we follow four regulative principles. No, four things that we should renounce. So unless you cultivate these four things, they will block your progress in devotional service. So that's cultivating some type of renunciation or becoming aware of what one has to renounce in order to stay fixed in devotional service. Same with certain knowledge. Mm-hmm. The knowledge that I am not this body, I am spirit soul is basic knowledge.
And then that's why you said, Maharaj, we don't need to study a lot, but it is more important to put ourselves in the fire of the service. Is it preaching? Is it serving, temple worship, or somewhere where we learn about the realizations of
If
what we are reading and studying?
if you're reading and studying in order to preach, then yeah, then that's devotional service.
Hmm. And I had one puzzling thing about when I was reading Kapila Dev's teachings. It was mentioned that we can only do bhakti when we are liberated from the modes. We cannot, it's like before that, it's more like a practice or something. So actually, only when we are on the liberated status, we can serve the Lord. But then it is mentioned that only way to come to the liberation is actually to serve the Lord. So
Yeah,
it sounds like a circle which, yeah. How do you explain this, Maharaj? If you can
yeah.
clarify.
Just like if you're standing on the bank of a river, before you actually jump in and swim, you may get a feel of the river, how deep it is, how cold the water is, how far you should go out before everything is assured, then you actually dive in. So that preliminary knowledge is necessary for you to get started in devotional service. Yeah.
And And how is this that we have to do devotional service to get liberated, but we only when we are liberated can do devotional service?
Yeah, same thing. When you're engaged in activities of devotional service, you're on the liberated platform. But when you're fully engaged in devotional service, then you're liberated. You're approaching
Okay, liberated and liberated platform.
you're
Okay,
approaching the
there's a difference.
platform of liberation through devotional service. But when you're fully engaged in devotional service, then you're liberated.
Thank you, Maharaj. Because all this sense enjoyment we do in the meantime, actually, it's like pouring the water on the fire, and it really makes a difference.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
sense satisfaction is devotional service. Sense gratification is material.
Yeah.
Senses become satisfied by serving the Lord. That's not material.
Fully engaged. Thank you, Maharaj. I read one verse, which is one sentence from the Bhagavatam, which really made a difference in my execution of devotional service. It is said that sinful activity is the activity in which we do not know our relationship with the Lord, which is interesting.
It's another way of describing
It kind of seems, yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Sometimes people will commit a crime and not know it's a crime. Similarly, we can perform activities that are sinful and we don't know actually they are sinful. But because they're not connected with the Lord, they have a negative or sinful reaction to them. You have to understand everything material is simply what is the actual benefit of this material world? It's an opportunity to get out of it. You have to take birth in the material world to get out of the material world. You have to go to jail to get punished before you can actually free yourself from your crime so you can get back into the normal society again. But the material world only has one benefit, is to help you get out of the material world. That's all. It's not about a place to make some kind of, permanent or even temporary arrangement. Yeah. Material energy works. And if you follow that, then material energy favors you and helps you towards your getting to the point of freedom from all material desires and fixed in devotional service. But if you try to use or exploit the material energy for your own interests, then that same material energy will entangle you in reactions. Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much, Gurudev.
Mm-hmm. The man who runs the sweet shop, he's surrounded by sweets all the time, but it's his business. So if he just makes the sweets and sells it, the sweets become a benefit for him, and he can gain some pecuniary gain. In other words, he can get some benefit. He can make an occupation out of it. But if he's in the sweet shop and he's just eating all the sweets, he's destroying himself and the profit he could possibly make. So if we use the material energy in the service of the Lord, then that material energy will help us fulfill our desires for happiness and eternal life. If we use the material energy for our personal interest, then that entangles us in a reaction according to the level of the material energy you plug it, either goodness, passion, and ignorance. There's always a reaction. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Maharaj. Krishna Kaviraj Prabhuji, you can go next. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for your description of a devotee. You said one who is fully devoted to service of the Lord. Is it possible to reconcile this description to, for example, the 3 stages of devotee, the Kanishta, Madhyam, Uttama, or the 9 stages of devotion?
Yeah, there's what is called mixed devotional service. So mixed devotional service means there is elements of karma, personal gain for personal desire, fruit of activities, gyan, some form of liberation, or yoga, some desire to manipulate the material energy. So these things are called anarthas. They're mentioned by Bhakti Vinod Thakur as things that block our path in devotional service. Yeah.
So, Maharaj, is the one who is fully devoted, is that a devotee that is at the highest level of devotion?
Yeah, even though one is fully devoted, that doesn't mean they're a pure devotee yet.
Okay.
Anyone can come to the stage of being fully devoted just by working in that way. But of course, if you've got material desires, those material desires may distract you or interfere with your absorption in devotional service. But if you can somehow or other stay fixed despite these material desires, then even though you're not pure, you're on the purified platform.
See, thank you for clarifying, Maharaj.
Yeah, thank you. Good question.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So Balwan Nitai Prabhuji, you can go ahead and ask your question.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jai Shri Nityananda. Wow, I'm just so, it was such sweet mercy that I will, if I can remember to chant in hell, I'll be released sometime. It is amazing. What a beautiful comment, and such tremendous hope it kindles in my heart that when I am reborn in hell, that there will be some way to transcend it eventually. After who knows how many hundreds of lifetimes in hell I will be condemned to. So,
well, we don't want you to go there because I'll have to go there and get you out, and I don't really want to go there either.
well, I wouldn't want that either. And so, but boy, it is just, it makes me almost, emotional thinking that there is some way out when I'm condemned there. So, and it just, the bottomless mercy of the Lord contained in just that image for me is so beautiful. And boy, this talk over these sections has been really uplifting. And so I just want to thank you, Guru.
Okay, thank you, Balavan. Yeah. And the point is that devotional service covers everything. So one who's engaged in devotional service, everything, and there's no need for any other activity, any other desire, simply serve the Lord in different ways. And then one becomes elevated in knowledge, one becomes elevated in renunciation, one becomes happy, and one becomes connected with the Lord in devotion, which means we start to understand deeper the nature of the Lord. This is the real joy of Krishna consciousness. When you start understanding how Krishna thinks, why he does what he does, why he acts in a certain way in certain situations. You start to know Krishna, and that becomes a point of interest. And that's one of the stages of bhakti, to actually start to understand the nature of the Lord. Not only connect with him in devotional service, but to understand him through that service. Krishna's far out. You can't believe some of the things he does.
Very beautiful. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you. Haribol. Voice of Jai Nityananda.
Hey Krishna, thank you. Sridevi Mataji, you can go next.
Thank you, Dinanath. Dear Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. What a power-packed verse this is with so many points. This verse will need reading again and again and listening to these classes again and again. It's very, very deep and just full with so many points for us to absorb that I, in one sitting, cannot quite get everything. But my question is about the last point in that list of points, that devotee refuses all the 5 types of liberation if he can be engaged in devotional service. My understanding is that devotional service never ceases, even if the devotee is with Krishna or has the same opulences as Krishna, or is an associate of Krishna, or is on Krishna lok, his service continues. So why does it say over here that he refuses the 5 kinds of liberation to serve the Lord? It's not that service ends with the Vaishnav liberations, isn't it?
No, it doesn't. But it's, in other words, the Lord offers these things to a devotee, but the devotee is not interested in these things. He doesn't want any of that. He simply wants to serve. That's all.
Well, I'm not like that at all. I want to go back to Krishna. That's
Well,
why doing
yeah,
all this stuff.
yeah, that's all right too. But to get back to Krishna means to purify yourself through the process of devotional service. So 1 and 2 and 2 is 4, 3 and 1 is 4.
Okay.
But higher than wanting to go back to devotion to Krishna and spiritual life in Vaikuntha or in Goloka Vrindavan is to simply, as Lord Chaitanya said, Nadanam, Najanam, Nasundarim, Kavitam Vajagadisha Kamaye, Manma Janmani. Yeah, I'll take birth after birth, as long as you and I can engage in your devotional service. So that's the highest. Don't ask even to go back to Godhead, just ask for devotional service. But if you do that, you qualify yourself to go back to Godhead. So it's the same thing. If you go into the house from the back door, or you go into the house from the front door, or you go into the house from the side door, you go into the house.
Yes, true. But isn't, I remember you saying, Guru Maharaj, that Srila Prabhupada said, as neophytes, we should desire to go back to Godhead.
Yeah, that's for those who won't be inspired otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have to understand, bhakti is not just one way. What is the Lord Chaitanya said? Aslishyava pinaratam punastumam madarshanam marmahatam karotuva Yata tata va viradatulam patona mat pranam nastu sevana paraha. So we might not be able to pray like that. That Krishna can neglect you, he can kick you, cannot be present before you, but still, your devotion doesn't diminish even a slight iota. Now that's a high level of bhakti, but that's also that is bhakti at its best. It's nice to know the highest, even though you may not attain to that level of bhakti. But you should aspire to attain to it, even though, but you can still go back home, back to Godhead.
Yes, Guru Maharaj, I'm still trying to grapple with that idea of being so absorbed in devotional service that it doesn't really matter where you are. That's something that, I'm just trying to wrap my brain around that, because to
Yeah, me
me,
too.
Krishna,
Sometimes if you give me a choice, I'd rather be this place rather than the other place. But in another place I'll serve, but it doesn't matter. But you like to be in certain associations, you like to be engaged in certain activities, you like to be in certain places. But even if you don't get them, does that mean does that lose your enthusiasm for service? That's the point.
yes, I see that one continues to be steady and serve no matter what and no
Yeah,
matter where, because that is our constitutional position anyway. So whether the atmosphere is conducive or the association is nice or not nice or whatever, we just continue to carry on with our devotional service, praying for the mercy of the Lord.
yeah. As we heard, even in hell. I mean, what would you do in hell if you were in hell? You'd figure
You'd
out
still do
ways
the
to.
same thing. You'd still be chanting, you'd be speaking the glories of Krishna, you'd be trying to give prasadam to everyone, you try to get a harinam going, you try to give books. That's the same thing that you'd be doing wherever you are.
Right. That's the point. What is Prabhupada uses the example? It's called a decking machine. A decking machine is a wheat husking machine. So he says, if you take a decking machine and you take it to the heavenly planets, what is it going to do? It's going to husk wheat. You take the same machine to a hellish planet, same machine is going to husk wheat. So wherever you put the devotee, they're going to serve. Or they're going to chant,
Yes,
they're going to
Guru
remember
Maharaj,
the.
I do see your point, because there is, as they say, there is no impediment, no material impediment to devotional service. And that
Yeah,
is so true. We can always find a way to connect with devotees. We can always find a temple to go worship. We can always find a way to serve the orders of our spiritual master. It's just that sometimes it may be challenging, it may be difficult, it may be unclear, but if one is persistent and keeps praying, then surely Krishna shows the way.
right.
Hmm.
Never give up. Never become discouraged either.
Thank you. Thank you, Guru Maharaj, for that reminder.
Especially in your chanting, sometimes when there's no taste, we get a little less enthusiasm to continue on with our chanting. But just keep chanting anyway. Okay, we got Shiv Kumarji.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances at your lotus feet. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, I have two questions, Maharaj. One from my end and one follow-up question to just the discussion. I'll go with my question first, Maharaj. So in this sloka, it's given as the person should search after absolute truth to this extent. So I just wanted to understand, Maharaj, is that a right understanding to say that the search of the devotee Jiva ends with surrendering to a spiritual master, Maharaj? Is that a right understanding?
Again, you just rephrase the last part of your statement.
Yes, Maharaj. The extent to which Jivas should search is given in this sloka, as to what extent the person should search for absolute truth. So I'm just asking, Maharaj, is that a right understanding? The search of the Jiva ends with the surrender to a spiritual master.
That's what it says. Yeah, within everything and without everything. Krishna is in the material world by his energy. Krishna is in the material world personally. Krishna is in the spiritual world. His energies are always working. The absolute truth is manifested in different ways. One should understand that manifestation in all aspects of existence. That Krishna, or Krishna's energy, is the only prominent feature of everything. That's all. When you understand that, through, when we say searching it, through various philosophical understandings, verses, then you'll understand that the absolute truth, there's nothing outside of the absolute truth. And everything outside of the absolute truth, as it says in that verse, is a reflection of the reality and darkness. That's the previous verse.
Yes.
This material world is just a dark place. It's a reflection. When there's what gives this material world light is the sun. If there's no sun, there's no life here. The world is just a dark, cold planet. That's all. The sun gives light to everything in the universe. It gives life to everything in the universe. But where is that sun coming from? The sun's coming it's coming from the energy of Krishna directly. So this world is, but you can understand that this world, although it's a reflection of the reality, it's still part of the reality in the sense that it's a reflection. The mirror may not have the object in it, but the mirror is reflecting the object. So the object is real, but the reflection is what it is. It's simply a reflection. So this material world is a reflection of the reality, but it exists in the sense that a reflection of the reality also exists. We want to live forever. We can't. We want to have the perfect relationship in this world. We never find that. All the things we want, we always fall short because this world can't provide it, because the reality is where you can find it and not in the reflection.
Thank you, Maharaj. Maharaj, I'm also more in terms of asking Maharaj, the search as such, would it be a right understanding to say that the search would end when someone surrenders to a spiritual master? The search ends there with his surrender to a spiritual master. Is that right?
In one sense, yes, but in another sense, then bhakti begins at that point. The search for truth ends at when you find a spiritual master, because now you have found the source of all truth. Krishna through Shastra, Krishna through Guru. It's Krishna that's the source of all truth, but it's manifested through his different energies. Yeah. So, yeah, once you get situated under the shelter of a spiritual master and work according to him, then everything becomes easy and natural. If you follow the program, then it's just a matter of time before you reach perfection.
Thank you, Maharaj. Maharaj, just one for.
Yeah, but it takes some application of intelligence to be very clear on what is the spiritual master's instructions and how best to carry them out.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Maharaj, just one follow-up question, Maharaj, to the earlier discussion of liberation. So the desire for liberating to spiritual abode, Maharaj, is that equated at the same level as impersonal liberation, Maharaj? The desire for the.
No, personal liberation doesn't go to the spiritual abode. Spiritual, the best that impersonal liberation goes is to the Brahma Jyoti, the Brahmana effulgence. To get to spiritual Krishna's spiritual abode, or any of the abodes in the spiritual world, one has to be engaged in devotional service.
Sorry, Maharaj. I'm asking Maharaj more in terms of the desire, Maharaj. The desire of a devotee aspiring for personal liberation in spiritual abode, is that equated at the same level as a desire of an impersonalist desiring liberation, Maharaj? Is that how it is equated?
No, the desires are different, right?
Mm.
One is desiring, even if the impersonalists desire the spiritual abode, they can't attain it because they're not qualified.
Mm. Mm.
You can desire anything, but it doesn't mean you'll achieve it. You can desire to be, whoever you want to be. You can desire to be God, but that doesn't mean you'll make it. Personalists, their desires are not within the realm of their qualifications. Sometimes we say first deserve, then desire. Or you can desire something, you have to deserve. And that means be qualified according to that, according to achieve that desire. If you want to start a business, you have to have, you have to have equity, you have to have a plan on how to do it. You have to make all of the arrangements to put the business in place. You have to hire people. You have to get your merchandise. You have to do so many things. So the impersonalists, they're not qualified to go to the spiritual world, although they may desire. I desire to be a millionaire, but I'm expecting the money to drop out of the sky. That's not going to happen. First deserve and then desire. They don't deserve, but therefore their desires are not worthy.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Krishna Kaviraj Prabhu, you have a question, another question?
Yes, if I may.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Raj, you said that an activity is only devotional service when we are following under the guidance and instructions of the spiritual master. So could you please explain how that works when we're trying to also follow the services given and guidance of the local temple authorities?
Yeah, well, Prabhupada made the point that the temple authorities are representing the spiritual master. So if you're working under the guidance of the temple authorities, you're working under the guidance of the spiritual master in terms of your practical service. Mhm.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Mhm. Temple authorities may not be perfect, but still, if you follow, still you're in the best position to get the mercy. Okay?
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.
Good, good. Okay, so we reached the end. Mm. Dina, you're on mute. Mhm.
Sorry, apologies. Yes, we have one final question. So, Vraja Janapriya Radha Mataji, please go ahead. You can ask your question. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. Please
Uh,
accept my relationship. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for being here every day. Guru Maharaj, I was thinking about the desires. I don't really understand where do the desires come from? Because when I was very young, a child, I think, in my environment, we were relation with Maya. I now understand they may be Maya bodies. So at that moment, I was almost a child. I understood that to desire it was wrong. So um, uh, every time that I understood that I was desiring something, I tried not to desire. So then I understood that I was desiring anyway, but from I don't know, from the subconscious part of my mind. So that
oh, desire is pretty much the nature of the soul. Mhm. You can't stop desire. Everyone has desire. The question is where you're going to place your desire.
Mhm.
If you connect your desire with something material, then it'll take you into the material realm. If you have spiritual desires, it'll elevate you to the spiritual realm. So desire is life. Without desire, there's no life. A stone doesn't have desire because there's no life there. But anything living has desires. Even an ant goes walking along. He's looking for some sugar, and he knows where the sugar is, so he's going in that direction. So if you stick your finger in front of the ant, try to block the ant will try to go around your finger because he has that desire. So all living entities, anything that is alive, has desire. But then the question is, what is that desire? And then there's wrong desire and there's right desire. Desire material means to become entangled in the material energy and get a reaction, either good or bad, based on the nature of that desire. The desire of Krishna and devotional service means to elevate our consciousness back to the spiritual world. So make your desire spiritual. That's all. And when material desires come up, you just refuse to accept them and just focus on developing your spiritual desires. Desire something spiritual. I want to chant. I want to serve. I want to associate. These are all spiritual desires.
thank you very much, Guru Maharaj. I think I'm so blessed to be here to clarify all these things that were surrounding me from my childhood. And now understanding more. It's life itself. Thank you very
A
much.
child doesn't know what's right and what's wrong. The child will desire what is called, whatever is the immediate satisfaction. So therefore, we learn. Childhood is a process of learning how to grow up. Once you grow up, then you're expected to know how to do the right thing, how to use your desires for your own benefit.
Thank you very much.
Haribo. Prajajana Priyarada. One of the most nicest names I've ever come across. Okay, so yeah. Thank you again, Dinanath, for doing a double header. Thank you. Back to back. You want to make it a triple header? We would love you to come back on Wednesday.
Thank you, Maharaj, for allowing to do this service.
So we'll move on to the next verse. The next verse, the purport's very long also. Let's see, we might decide to break it up, but let's see if we can do it in one go. But I don't like to cram this knowledge because it's too what we say, power packed, and each sentence, each paragraph, there's so much meaning in there.
Yes, Maharaj. It is very deep.
Yeah, so maybe tomorrow we'll do 2 verses on number 37.
Okay, Maharaj. I'll inform the team.
Yeah, I think it's Anasuya who'll host tomorrow.
Yes. Okay,
Okay,
Maharaj.
thank you to all the devotees for coming and every day participating in hearing and discussing Srimad Bhagavatam. Nasta Prayeshu Arbitration Nitya Bhagavata Sevaya. You're actually performing one of the most important activities in devotional service is to hear and discuss Bhagavatam regularly. It has such immense, tremendous benefit. Even if you don't understand everything, still, if you take part in this activity, you get purified from it, and you also develop a deeper understanding of the process. So we like to encourage more devotees to come online and become part of this. So remind all of those persons you know who are not there today. Say, hey, you're missing something.
Jai. Thank you, Maharaj. With your permission, we will conclude the class. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.